In the early months of 2020, I began to receive transmissions from Thoth, which brought me full circle back to my strong personal connection with the inner earth, or to be more specific, the hollow earth. In the 1970s and 80s, I had been given a large amount of information on the sacred hollow of the planet, primarily the science of its creation, operation, and resultant environment. This also included something about the people and the migrations from the surface Earth at various periods of time. Now Thoth was returning me to this topic in an even deeper reveal. I had known from the 1970s that I had a concurrent life in the world of the central Earth cavity. Previous to this, as I later recalled, I had even named my doll after her. I called it Michaela. In 2020, I was given the actual pronunciation of my alternate inner Earth entity, Mikala. I was then shown where she lived, the city of Seraphim, in the region of Greater Seraphim. I wondered why in 2020 Thoth was awakening me to so much more about the interior of the planet and my life there. Then in the summer of that year, something extraordinary happened. Persons from Seraphim, not Mikala, but those who worked with her, began to come into my house through a special process explained to me later as something in between astral projection and remote viewing. The first visit was the most dramatic in that I heard them come into the house. I was in bed in the early morning hours, and in that in-between state of asleep and awake, but this was not a dream. I was far more awake than asleep. One of them stood next to my bed. I didn't open my eyes, and she spoke to me, as I was a bit upset about what I was experiencing in the moment. She simply said in a soothing voice, "Oh, what's going on?" Not realizing who these people were, I thought perhaps they were disincarnates. Yet a few days later, in the home of my colleague Michael Henry Dunn, and early in the morning, he heard a woman call his name. He responded by getting out of bed and walking into the hall to find the source of the voice. Nothing was there that he could see. I then went to Thoth, my mentor, who is now embodied in the inner earth and dwells in the greater Seraphim. He informed me that these persons had the permission of my higher self and alternate self as Mikala to set up a specific energy field in my house, mostly in the living room where my altars are. Since I was not getting the message, this female went to Michael, hoping it would signal me to open to receive the truth of what was happening. I needed a name to call this team, so Thoth suggested Styx, S-T-Y-X. They continued to work in my living room. While I could not see them externally, I had several what I call third eye flashes of some of the members, which are short but very clear imaging. My cat was very upset and watched them from the hall, refusing to come into the living room. This went on for several days until they apparently called him into the living room and assured him all was well. Then he was fine again. I saw him walk calmly into the living room, sit there, and look slowly in all directions, then walk slowly out of the room. Then there was the ring left for me. A member of the Styx named Narla had been telepathically communicating with me. She was the one who had spoken to both myself and Michael. One night she told me that they were leaving something for me in the living room. She didn't say when this would happen. 2 days later, a ring sat waiting for me in the living room, lying on the carpet, right in my path to open the blinds in the morning. This is the prelude to Thoth's assigning me the mission, if you will, of what is now the Quantum Logica Interactive Program. In a casual texting with a friend, I was told about a technology in Germany which was creating and selling cubes that generated powerful quantum fields. Well, there are many amazing quantum devices out there in the marketplace these days. Ordinarily, I would have passed this by. Instead, I immediately seized upon it. I felt that connection within to what I call the Thoth extreme, urging me to investigate this technology of 90.10. Much happened quickly after that, and I found myself with one and then two of these cubes, creating what Thoth is calling a terminal for the quantum Logica interactive. Terminals can be composed of one or more of the 9010 cubes. The cube terminals are quantum entangled with a cube in the inner earth. Thoth is calling this cube the hierophi. This inner earth cube contains intuitive circuitry that allows it to intuit the cosmic logica necessary to adjust certain major points on the spine of the energy planet, which have become misaligned through the eons, and most especially the recent disturbances of man-made surface technology such as 5G. As an aside, when describing intuitive circuitry to me, Thoth stated that Nikola Tesla had created a simpler version of it. Some few weeks later, I came across an article on Teslaphoresis. It is without a doubt a simpler version of the inner Earth's intuitive circuitry. Scientists have recently discovered it within the dynamic operation of the Tesla coil. As Thoth has explained to me, in order to fully access this energy spine of the planet and work on it, they must go through the genetically incarnated persons on the surface of the Earth. Our Quantum Logica Interactive, or QLI, is one such means for them to accomplish this, and is part of a much larger interactive design to aid humanity in preparing this old Earth for full planetary ascension from a World System 1 to a World System 2. As of June 2021, we now have 15 terminals of 9010 cubes creating a quantum entangled network. Most of these terminals and persons whose energy fields are entangled with them are in the USA, but some are in other countries. It is the goal of the project that they be placed globally all over the world as terminals of QLI. With the 9010 technology, one can broadcast, or what Thoth prefers to call stream, around the world, into the Earth and beyond into other stars and dimensions. Also, this technology allows objects such as crystals or even wearing apparel to be burned in the cubes. This is a term the inventor of 9010, Oliver, uses to describe the implication for a more lasting effect than simply charging. The burned items will remain with the quantum frequency for at least 500 years. From Thoth, I receive it will last much longer, especially if the items burned contain a definitive crystalline structure. There are also 9010 capsules, which can be purchased with quantum burn spheres within them. Our QLI team is being guided to place certain energy foils within the capsules, so those who cannot afford cubes can still connect to the quantum entanglement created by the cube terminals and contribute some positive effects to the whole. We are not only radiating outward the streaming, but individually receiving back from it. In our team, lives appear to be changing for the better, in subtle ways and some in more profound ways. Thoth added a subtitle to Quantum Logica Interactive. It is And Mysterium Teachings. As we work with the streaming, so I am drawing from my vast over 55 years of Thothic transmissions and sciences to educate and activate the individuals in this program. For as Thoth has stated to me, the cubes are only focusing tools for the true quantum element in the individuals activating them. I am not charging for my work in this project, including the Mysterium teachings. I do encourage participants to use my affiliate links when purchasing capsules, cubes, the 9010 cards, or water bottles, etc. And of course, I am open to any donations. For me personally, I feel my entire life's work has led me to the Quantum Logica Interactive. I am totally dedicated to achieving a global network for this purpose. But I am not being guided to push it, simply to share my story. It must come naturally. There will be those who are stirred to participate. This needs to come from an inner place of sacred guidance, for it is not about the technology, but the sacred path and connection to our Mother Gaia and her place in the stars of the living lights. If you feel called to join us in this endeavor, please contact me. All that is required is your feeling or connection and ability to participate in the private group and chat on Facebook, and if you are able, the cost of an $89 quantum capsule. If not even that, you can use the templates on your altar. Thank you for listening, and may the quantum force be with you.